All right, I just want to make a quick video to show you how you can repurpose one of these old Mac Pro speakers for the G4 onto a modern device. Now, if you already know about these speakers, you know that they're a little bit tricky to use because of this proprietary headphone jack. This is a 2.5 TRRS jack, and it's also got this little shield around it. And the shield is what prevents it from jumping into any modern adapters or any modern jacks. So what a lot of people do online is they've come up with ways to cut this up and kind of rewire it. And it requires a lot of, finagling, and it also just requires you to destroy the original design of these speakers. So what I did is I found a way to access these wires without having to cut it open or destroy it. Now, it is going to involve some soldering, but it's going to involve soldering anyways. But the real part that you really need, and this is a nice cheap part you can buy online. This is a 2.5 millimeter TRRS jack. And what you can do with it is once you plug this in, it will allow you to now access the pins. So that's why you don't have to cut these wires. This kind of is the little bit of a breakout for these pins. Then from there, all you need to do is solder to these. Now, this is a very specific type of jack that you need to get. The part is, I believe, PJ272. I can put a link in the description for you to find it. But once you have them, you can, again, like I did here, solder it to a couple of different wires. And then now from here, you can plug these wires into any other amplifier that you have. So again, it is going to take some soldering, but what you can do is you can now plug this in. And then here's just a cheap amplifier that I got online. Again, some assembly was required, but this amplifier was only $5-6. And then from there, you can plug it into anything else. You don't need to buy this. If you already have an amplifier that has both inputs that works and then speaker outputs, that's all you really need, and that's basically all this achieves. You just plug in these speaker wires into here, and then here is the audio in. I'm just going to power it just so you can see it in action. So you can see once it's plugged in, powered on, it's turned on. And then last step, just going to plug it into my iPod here. Ignore the song. Came up on shuffle. All right, and let's go ahead and hit play. A little loud. All right, I'm going to stop that song just because of copyright reasons. But yeah, there you go. As you can see, I was able to get these speakers to work again without having to cut anything while doing wiring. The only thing you are going to have to do is, again, do a little bit of soldering. And one last thing, you'll see that there is on these plugs here, it is a little bit of a tight squeeze. There's a bit of a square peg round hole situation. So you may have to just shave these down a little bit. You can kind of see there's kind of got this rectangular block. But just take like a small pocket knife and then you just need to whittle down away at the corners. Because right now you can see it does, again, that's the whole thing with the shield. This shield does block you out from a bunch of different connectors. But once you get it shaved down, this allows you to plug all the way in. And that's what allows you to access all of the different parts of the jack and lets you use these speakers. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'm probably going to put a little bit of heat shrink just to protect this, but yeah. All right, if you're going to be doing some of the soldering and wiring yourself, here's a quick little slide just to show you what needs to go where. I've included the schematic for the PJ242 and some of the pins. If you know how to read this, this would probably make perfect sense, and you can kind of see I've color coordinated for you, so it's pretty easy to figure out and wire. However, if you're not used to wiring this is all you really need to know is upper right. So if you've never seen anything like this before, all you're basically doing is you're going to take the outlet jack and you're going to go ahead and make it face away from you. This is top down view, and on the top two, you see the 2 and the 3 there, you're going to want to solder the cable for the right negative and the right positive speaker. And you're going to probably want to use different colored wires just so you keep them separated. And you're also going to want to make sure you keep positive and negative separated. So as best as you can, try to get 4 different colored wires. And this is just going to make sure that the sound is coming out of the right speaker, the correct speaker, and that the polarity doesn't get messed up. And I'll be honest, if you mess this up, it's not going to be the end of the world. You're just going to need to kind of reconfigure how you wire it together onto the back of that amplifier. And yeah, if you are not sure about this, I would definitely leave a comment or watch some more videos, do some more research. It's not too complicated, but I don't know how to break this down any simpler than it already is. If you need help finding the outlets, the 2.5 jacks, also hit me up in the comments. These things are cheap, but they also, they're sold like by packs. So I have like a pack of 10. I only needed 1. So hit me in the comments. I can send it to you. Maybe send you a pre-soldered version for like a small fee if it's something that you are nervous about doing, if you don't have any soldering experience. But again, as far as soldering goes, this is very simple. If you've never soldered before, this is as easy as it gets. I mean, I think most people get into soldering or learn about soldering via audio equipment, and this is probably the most accessible, easiest thing you can do. Really, really generous pins, really wide, really forgiving. But yeah, that's it. If you have Mac speakers, don't cut them up anymore. Just get one of these outlets. All right, that's it. Bye. All right, I just came back to reshoot this just because I realized it'd probably be a good idea to show you what this would sound like once it's all put together and with some non-copywritten music this time. So it's here, you can see, got my iPod hooked up. This is connected to the power supply, and this is connected to the speakers. Here we go. And I can turn up the music on my iPod, or I can turn it up using the amplifier. But yeah, this is kind of what it sounds like. Kind of a boring part of the song. Let me fast forward. So as you can hear, sounds pretty good, especially if you turn down the music from the source, the volume from the source, and then you turn up the gain on the amplifier. That's what I find sounds best. All right, so that's just a nice little sample of it. One last thing I want to talk about, you probably have some questions about, is going to be this a little amplifier, because I recommended the headphone jack. Why not talk about the amplifier as well? By the way, I did end up adding the heat shrink and then kind of just wrapping up the cables around here. So that way it's a nice little compact system. And it's not as, I mean, it still looks very homemade, very DIY, but at least it's not as precarious to carry around. But this is something that I just found on AliExpress. Again, it was like $6, the YS-AP50L. I just got this because it was cheap. I'll be honest, you're probably better off not getting this. You're probably better off getting any other amplifier you can find. Or again, just repurposing an old CD player. As long as it's like a micro system that has speaker outs and inputs, aux in, it does the exact same thing this does. All you're really trying to do is get power to these speakers because, because of these shield, and also just because, these are passive speakers. It needs some type of amplification, some additional power, which is all this does. This really just takes in the sound files, and it adds a little bit of extra electricity via the power supply, and it allows you to make the sound better. But this thing kind of sucks just because assembly was required. This came unassembled. The power supply that they give you is incomplete. This is actually very sketchy. I don't know if you guys know anything about electricity, wiring and electricity, but they basically are asking you to do your own wiring, which is very dangerous, especially when it comes to alternating current. So I would not recommend getting one of these if you don't know what you're doing. If you are not really familiar with like tinkering and electrical engineering and stuff like that, you're better off just buying like an old like thrift store CD player. Again, the only requirements that you do need is that audio input, right? Usually in the form of an aux cord or maybe the left and right RCA connectors, and having speaker outputs. That's all you really need. I can add more specs on the description and on the side here, but just wanted to talk about this just in case you had questions about this, but I'm not recommending this. My video is really much more recommendation of getting these outlet jacks so that you can repurpose it without having to destroy these speakers. But yeah, that's what I wanted to add. Now, thank you, and for real, goodbye.